Whenever you're self-employed, you're an entrepreneur, you work for yourself, anytime you receive income from all the sources, not just one source, but from all your sources of income, you're doing a side hustle over here, you're driving Uber over there, right? You're cutting grass, you're cutting hair. When you add up all the sources of income, if you make more than $400, you are required to file a tax return. So this video is for you, okay? Hey guys, it's Paula again, and I am coming to you today to talk to all of my contract workers, my gig workers, my Uber drivers, all of my entrepreneurs out there who are going to be doing their taxes a little bit differently this year than you may have been doing when you were a W-2 employee. So if you receive a Form 1099 NEC for services that you provide to your client or your employer as an independent contractor, and the annual payments that you've received are more than $400 for the entire year, okay, for the entire year, then you're going to need to be filing your taxes a little bit differently than when you were getting paid as a regular W-2 employee. Now, one of the most common reasons that you're going to receive this form is if you were self-employed, you worked as an independent contractor during last year. So that means you received what's called non-employee compensation. Now, this money is very different than your W-2 money. So it's very important that you understand the implications of completing your tax return correctly. Now, if your employer, your client, paid you more than $600 last year, so when you add up all of your payments, not just one payment, but when you add up all your payments last year, if you got paid more than $600, then your client, your employer, should be giving you a Form 1099 NEC, okay? Now, if you receive payment for your services through PayPal, then you might receive a 1099K in addition to that 1099 NEC form. So you want to keep both of those, okay? Now, keep in mind, money rolls a little bit different when it's contract money. And so you're going to be responsible to pay Social Security and Medicare taxes. Okay, so if this is the first time you've ever done that, it's important, again, that you're doing your tax returns correctly. And then one thing you'll also notice on that 1099 NEC form is that there is no income tax being withheld, okay? You're not like a regular W-2 employee. And what this means is you're responsible to pay 100% of the income tax that you owe, okay? So instead of your employer withholding that for you, you are now obligated to pay that in full when your tax time comes, or to be making your 4 estimated quarterly payments so that you don't owe at the end of the year, okay? Now, one of the nice things about receiving a 1099 NEC rather than a W-2 is you can claim deductions for the expenses that you had in relationship to making money and getting that job done, right? So your deductions must be for a business purpose, and it must be what the IRS considers ordinary and necessary, okay? So an expense is ordinary. It is incurred by a self-employed person that is in a similar field to you. It's ordinary, right? Barbers buy clippers. You're a barber, you bought clippers, right? Landscapers cut grass, right? So they have tools and equipment to help them do that. You're a landscaper, you bought a lawnmower. Pretty ordinary, right? The expense also has to be necessary. It has to be helpful for you to complete the work that you're delivering to your client. Now, an expense does not have to be essential to be necessary. Right? Okay, so think about this. The cost to buy computer software, that's ordinary and necessary if you're, for example, a freelance graphic designer. But on the other hand, if you're hiring a limousine to travel to your clients or to pick up your clients, even though that may be helpful on your part, it is not ordinary by tax standards, okay? So you want to be careful, but just keep in mind that there are lots of deductions you can take to help reduce that money that you've earned that will be reported on that 1099 NEC. So you want to have good record keeping, and you want to make sure you're taking the right deductions and that you're paying the right amount of taxes. Okay, so if you need some support in that, I'd be happy to help. Be sure that you're engaging a professional tax preparer to make sure that you're meeting your tax liability, but that you're also paying the least amount of taxes possible that you're responsible for. Alrighty, so be in touch with me. There's a link up in the post. Feel free to schedule an introduction chat. I'd love to be able to work with you. And in the meantime, remember to live freely.